Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm speaking on behalf of the negative. Disadvantage 1. Legalizing same-sex marriage will lead to the further weakening of the institution of marriage. Subpoint A. Less people are getting married in the United States. According to Devera Cohn, senior writer for Pew Research Center and former reporter and demographer for the Washington Post in 2011. The percentage of the population that is married in 2011 is 51%, down from 62% in 1990 and 72% in 1960. And 4 in 10 Americans say marriage is becoming obsolete, according to a survey done by the Pew Research Center. A drop of as much as 5% was shown between the years 2009 and 2010 alone. To further expedite the decreasing marriage rate, subpoint B, divorce rates in California are rising above the national average, according to David Whiting, who is a former news anchor and journalist for the Orange County Register, in 2012. Orange County has one of the highest divorce rates in the nation. On average, 33 people in the OC initiate divorce proceedings every day. Recent statistics suggest that 50% of all marriages in the United States will end in divorce. In Southern California, the divorce rate is purported to be even higher, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 75%. So what am I saying? Basically what I'm saying is marriage is on the brink. It is really bad right now. The state of marriage, the institution of marriage is suffering. So though many argue that gay marriage will help strengthen the institution of marriage, we find that the opposite is true. As shown in subpoint C, homosexual relationships are less likely to be committed or long-term, according to George Chauncey, Yale University historian, in 2012. In any event, many gay and lesbian activists actively opposed marriage. Gay liberation celebrated sexual freedom, not committed relationships, and many lesbians viewed marriage as an inherently patriarchal institution to be reformed or even abolished, but certainly not to be imitated. Research continues to show that homosexuals are less likely to enter into long-term partnerships, less likely to be sexually faithful to a partner, and less likely to see their relationships last a lifetime. This goes on to prove subpoint D. Allowing gay marriage will further diminish and change the meaning of marriage. By Johnson Tamu, the 97th Archbishop of York and columnist for The Sun, in 2012. The institution of marriage has traditionally been defined as between a man and a woman. I firmly believe that redefining and changing the definition of marriage to embrace same-sex relationships would mean diminishing the meaning of marriage for most people and creating an unclear and therefore ineffective definition of what it means to be married. The effects of this can be exemplified in the following, subpoint E. Changing the meaning of marriage makes it hard to deny others the right to marriage, by Robert George, a McCormick Professor of Jurisprudence at Princeton University, in 2010. Removing the marital definition of one man and one woman creates the difficult problem of what and who deserves to fall under the term of marriage. If love is the only definition, why not polygamy? If 2 people are the only criteria, why not family members? Marriage would soon be seen by many as inconsequential or even undesirable. Marriage is not a right, but an institution created to allow society to support heterosexual couples in procreation, and society can choose not to give the same benefits to other couples. In cross-examination, and I asked Felicia what should marriage be defined as, she said any 2 people. That's kind of a loose definition. It doesn't really explain much. Obviously, there should be other rules concerning marriage. The combining of these factors, along with the marriage crisis already present today, would lead to several negative consequences, as shown in subpoint F. Weakening or lessening marriage leads to an unstable society, by Peter Sprigg, Vice President for Policy at the Family Research Center, in 2010. People rely on marriage in their communities to provide a stable neighborhood and society, and for society at large. Marriage matters because it reduces crime, poverty, and welfare, while promoting health, education, and financial independence. Diminishing marriage can only lead to a diminishing of these positive qualities. A rise in unwanted societal problems would further lower the quality of life in California, an outcome that would severely hurt its people, as seen in subpoint G. Unstable societies lead to higher decline in health, by Harvey Simon, Associate Professor of Medicine at Harvard and Editor-in-Chief of New York Times Health, in 2011. Some of the leading causes of stress include abuse, financial and family instability, and frequent exposures to crime or violence. Constant or large amounts of stress often lead to depression or suicide. Stress has also been linked with heart disease, strokes, ill effects on the immune system, gastrointestinal problems, sexual and reproductive dysfunctions, and substance abuse. And asked that open for cross-examination.
And subpoint B, can you read that?
Subpoint B. Orange County has one of the highest divorce rates in the nation. On average, 33 people in the OC initiate divorce proceedings every day. Recent statistics suggest that 50% of all marriages in the United States will end in divorce. In Southern California, the divorce rate is purported to be even higher, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 75%.
So that's Orange County and California. Do you have any statistics on any other countries or states that show proof that same-sex has diminished or could diminish?
No. I kept my statistics to California because we're trying to legalize same-sex marriage in California.
Okay, and can you read subpoint C?
Sure. In any event, many gay and lesbian activists actively opposed marriage. Gay liberation celebrated sexual freedom, not committed relationships, and many lesbians viewed marriage as an inherently patriarchal institution, to be performed or even abolished, but certainly not imitated. Research continues to show that homosexuals are less likely to enter into long-term partnerships, less likely to be sexually faithful to a partner, and less likely to see their relationships last a lifetime.
And what is this, this information, is this historical information?
This was by a historian.
And what
He's
era?
talking about the initiation of
And what year was that, do you know?
about the 1980s, I believe.
1980s?
Yeah.
And wasn't there a sexual revolution and women's liberation and everything else happening at the same time?
Well, I think you're referring to the 1960s.
1960s. 1960s. I mean, it's still, they went through different liberations, and at that point, like,
Yeah.
is it pertaining to now, though, like with marriage in this instance, though?
Well, I think he's mostly just saying that as a whole in history, this is the trend that's been so far. It's hard to say now. It's obviously hard to get statistics on that nowadays, but he's trying to say history shows us that this is how. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.